Hello, my friend.
Look, first off, let's talk about the game. How big is this game? But also, the next week feels kind of almost pivotal for the season.
Yeah, it's a big way to frame it, Anton. So thank you for that. Yeah, you do. Yeah, look, I mean, for me, it's a huge week. We know that. But it's a historic moment we've been working towards. Like, I think you've seen us from our inception all the way through. So these are the moments we want to be around, you know. People like Frido that are sat with me have come to this project because of games like this. So we're looking forward to the challenge of it. But I think for us as well, Anton, that the good thing is, as much as you look at it as challenging games, they're great games to be part of. First Champions League game at Old Trafford for the women's team is a historic moment. So we have to embrace it and enjoy it. I mean, you know that. The pressure is what you make of it. So the good thing is playing 3 quality teams like this in a row also prepares you as well, because you have to beat your very best. And I know the team will be. So we have to bring on the challenge of it and really look forward to it.
Obviously, this is not just a huge game for the club, but it's a huge game in terms of attention because of the return of Mary Earps. From a personal point of view, what's that going to be like for her to come back? And also, obviously, look, we all know the noise around her, the criticisms around her, about what she said, what she's written. Just want your take on all that as well.
So you got quizzed with saying the question. Yeah, yeah, okay. I mean, look, the reality is when Mary was here, she was a fantastic ambassador for the club. She's a fantastic player. And you have to pay credit to the qualities she had and what she gave to us at that moment. She was, she's part of the FA Cup winning team, that the first trophy and so on in the new era or in UWCL 1. So I have nothing, and me and Mary have always had a good relationship. So I'll say nothing but good things. The thing is, Anton, we move forwards, and Fallon is an incredible goalkeeper. So we were lucky enough to have her to replace another fantastic goalkeeper. So, and look, I'm aware. I've not read the book. I don't know anything about it. I'm hearing snippets. Of course, I am. I'm always one of those. You have to be careful what you say. But you know, Mary believes in it, so if that's her truth, she has to speak it. But I think from our perspective, we'll welcome her as somebody that is on the opponent's team in this game, but also always pay tribute to what she's done while she was at Manchester United. So. I know Mary's a good person, so I look forward to the challenge of trying to beat her and her team on this Wednesday night, but that's all I can say on it, really. Thank you.
Yeah, hi Mark,
Hello.
Nice to see you. Just to kind of follow on that, I appreciate you don't want to talk about Mary all day,
sorry.
But just in terms of the reception she might get from the Manchester United fans, what do you think that reception will be?
I can't control that. I think our fans will have again their own voice and own opinion on what's said, but I mean the reality is I hope they create a cauldron for PSG anyway, because they're a fantastic team, so we're going to need the support of our fans. Our fans are always respectful as well, you know, they play hard but they're always respectful, so if they create noise it's to give us the advantage, and I think that will be the focus of them coming back. Apart from that, I can't really say what they're going to do.
In terms of your memories working with Mary and some of the highlights from her time at Manchester United, what would those be? I
mean, always a save in the semi-final when she made against Chelsea, going back across herself, the incredible athleticism she showed in that. Look, Mary was always a leader. Like, Mary always had a voice and always had her own opinion. So I always welcomed that because she always said what she was thinking. So we welcome her back in the time around it as somebody that we utterly absolutely respect for what she did here, but also she's welcome back as an opponent, and I must be clear on that. In this game, it's about trying to beat her and win the game, so I'm sure there'll be a couple of moments before, but during the game, it's all about us trying to win the game against Mary.
Can I just quickly ask about team news?
Yes, so we are Celine still out with a back injury. We have Dom missing through suspension, and we have Millie still progressing nicely but missing. Apart from that, everybody else is available. Thank you.
Hi Marc, hi Fridolina.
Hello.
Marc, Mary wrote in her book that her priority was to stay at Manchester United for the rest of her career.
Yeah.
How does that make you feel when a player loved the club, wanted to stay and ended up leaving?
Unfortunately, Charlotte, that happens in various clubs at various occasions. So, look, it's not always thing. I wasn't part of those conversations around contractual stuff. I don't even know if that's the case that you're kind of inferring to. But from my perspective, we move forward as a club. We always evolve, we always adapt, and we've got Fallon now. And I think to have Fallon is an incredible achievement for us to identify the talent and bring her in as well. So, it's sad, and obviously Mary can be sad for Mary, but the reality is football moves too quick, and we are now with Fallon a fantastic goalkeeping union that we are very happy with.
She said she told you in the book that she didn't get the sense that she was feeling valued, and there wasn't a sense of urgency around her contract. And she said, I spoke to Marc at that time. What do you think about that?
Have you got the book there? Are you reading it?
Yeah.
Look, there are moments where she might speak about the urgency, but also the club will have their own view and opinion on that. I wasn't in those conversations. She can tell me how she feels in that instance. And, I will feed back to my superiors who make that conversation, but it didn't happen in that moment. She didn't sign a contract, and we move on.
Would you empathise with her?
Always. I always empathise with the players. Always. But as I say, there are other circumstances around things like that mean Mary will have to... unfortunately, she's playing somewhere else now. So at that moment, as a human and someone that believes in that, I feel for her, but we are now moving forward. She plays at PSG, and we play against them on Wednesday.
Appreciate it. I've asked Marc a lot of questions. I wanted to ask Frida, but if that's not possible. Fridolina, you've come here as such an experienced winner in the Champions League. What are the qualities of this team that have impressed you and make you think that this team can go far?
I would say there's different kind of things that we have, the qualities we have in the team, but I think we have shown that we can win even though we have a tougher game, like now in Champions League we played Vålerenga and Atletico Madrid, and ending up winning both of them. It's very tough opponents we play against, and I think that's very important. Now we had one tough game last week, and I hope we can bounce back, but I think we have like a winning mentality in the team, and I think that's very important. And we have a young team, so I think also the strength can be that we can grow throughout the season. So that's something I really like about this team.
And the gap to reach that next level?
Well, yeah, I think that will come naturally. Like, as I said, throughout the season, I told you we have a young team, and we are still growing as a team, and I think it will get better throughout the season, but we are performing on a really high level at the moment. We have been winning almost every game so far, so yeah, at the moment I'm really happy with how we're performing, and I hope we can continue doing like that.
Thanks, Rita. Thanks, Marc.
All
the best.
Hi, Marc.
How you doing?
Good, thanks. Mary's one of the sort of giant figures of English sport, let alone women's football, the last few years. In your eyes, does any of this controversy sort of damage her legacy or reputation, or what she did at Man United in particular?
Yeah, I hope not. I honestly do. I hope not, because, as I say, I know deep down Mary's a good person, and so look, I'm sure part of bringing a book out is to try and bring the most controversial parts out to sell the book, right? So I know that, Mary has to go and defend that in public. And the human in me, knowing the human that she is, I'm sure she'll be getting criticism she won't like. But it's part and parcel of the other side of trying to release a book, I'd imagine. I promise you I won't be releasing a book ever, so I won't know. But yeah, I mean, look, she's a great human. I know she is. And so, I mean, she doesn't need me to say that either, really. But, I hope that people toe the line with the criticism, but also that I think Mary understands what situation she'll put herself in.
In an odd way, does this speak about the sort of growing popularity of women's sport? There's been so much fuss about this. Maybe 10 years ago, nobody would have noticed this. I mean, in a way, is that kind of indicative of how far this sport's come? For
sure, and I'd also say it's part of the individual's progress and success, right? Because she's on a platform where people are interested in what she says. So I think that also is credit to her for the hard work that she put in. And I know, look, when I first picked Mary up, the goalkeeper that we had at the start to the one that left Manchester United was not the same person. She'd transformed. So that's credit to her as well. And I don't want to make this massively about Mary, if I'm being really honest. This is about Manchester United versus PSG. But the finishing note I'll say on that is I hope Mary gets the credit that she deserves for the performance she gave to Manchester United, but also I understand she's an opponent this week. So as much as the love is around that, we must, prepare to beat her, and then obviously you can say your good things after the game.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Marc, yeah, just on that, is there a kind of worry that the whole talk about Mary will kind of overshadow what is obviously a huge occasion for Manchester United?
Honestly, not for us, right? I don't think for us. Like, we're focused. We didn't perform very well the weekend, so we as a group have spoken. And what I love about this team is that they'll take that on board. So, yeah, the noise. Look, if you know anything about Manchester United, there's noise everywhere. What I'd say is we just focus on the football. So, Frida will be preparing to try and put her best performances in with the team to try and beat PSG. So, from our perspective, no, we can't control the outside noise.
And just on the Champions League, what are the kind of different challenges in the Champions League compared to the WSL?
Totally different styles, really. I mean, Frida came from Barca and she plays for Sweden, so she's used to changing up style. So, and they both have their great ways in the way that they play. So, it's a different challenge. PSG are very physical. They're very good technically, so we have to be prepared for both of those. Maybe we can exploit them, hopefully, tactically a little bit. So some adaptation there, but they're a very, very good team. And I think it's that different challenge. I think playing at home, playing away is different. Refereeing is definitely different. We experienced that in the last game. So I think from our perspective, it's just trying to manage all the things, put them into the melting pot and trying to balance as much as we possibly can. But we love the challenge of it. Frida's played in this competition many years and won it. So I think from our perspective, it's just about trying to prepare as much as you can.
Hi, Mark.
Hi.
What would you say is the main difference between this Man United side and the one that lost against PSG 2 years ago?
Yeah, I think added style, variance, quality, but more importantly, experience. I think I always said when we lost those games that we would learn from the experience. As much as it hurt, we would learn from the experience. And adding people like obviously Frido and Ziggy and Jess has added to that experience too. So I think we're better experienced. I think we have to show that at times during this game because PSG will attack us. So we need to be prepared for that. I think those are going to be the main differences. The experience is always as you get older, and Frido just alluded to, this young team growing together will also experience things that are good and bad, which will prepare them for success going forwards. Thank you.
Hi Mark.
Hello,
Emily Monza from Beyond the 90. It's a question for both of you really. We watched a bit of training this morning and the energy seemed really high. Can you tell us what the atmosphere is like in the squad? Is it a lot of excitement, a little bit of nerves?
You want to go first?
Yeah, I can go. No, I think it's a positive feeling. We were, of course, not happy with the loss the other day, so we feel like a little bit of revenge, and we have been going through everything, and I think that we all have energy and we are happy we're playing a game so soon. So it feels like the group are super excited, and yeah, of course we're looking forward to play at Old Trafford. It's a huge game, and we can't wait to play.
Yeah, and I'd add that with the group, we just had an honest conversation. Like, our energy was low, and I'll stress this, we'd just buried a friend the day before. Our kit man, John Humble, it was his funeral the day before the game. So, there's bound to be an energy hangover from that game. So it was a tough one for us, but, we didn't manage to come through it. But what I love about this team, we can just be honest with each other. And we took that into account. And that's why the energy's high, because, and I'll be very clear on this, lose or win, we stay focused. And so we don't get here and we don't get here, and we stay focused. And I think if we can stay in there, you get that energy and the players can just be themselves. So that's why the energy's high today, because we've assessed what we need to do against a very good opponent, and we've got to put that into plan now.
And Fridolina, this one's for you. Obviously, your Champions League debut in 2014, you scored a hat-trick, and then your first Manchester United goal was also in the Champions League. Is this your favourite competition to play in?
Yeah, I do love play Champions League, of course. It's something unique. It's something you want to be a part of. And as we talked about, it's one of the biggest reasons why I joined this club, because I do want to play those big games, and with such a great club. So I do love playing Champions League, and I want to continue helping this team to reach even longer in this tournament, so we can continue perform really well and go far in the Champions League. So yeah, it's an honor to play it, and I hope I can bring my qualities to the team.
Yeah, sorry, I just wanted to ask you a question, Fridolina. Yeah. You sort of answered part of it there, but in terms of some of the memories that you made during your time at Barcelona in this competition, I'd imagine you're pretty eager to replicate them with Manchester United.
That would be a dream. yeah, I hope we can give it our all. Like, we know how many good teams there are out there, so it's not going to be easy, definitely not. But it's also, you can see how tight it is. I think we can match every team. We can be on a top level if we perform on our best. So there's a chance to win it, definitely, and we're going to do work as hard as possible to get there. But I also know how hard it is, and it gets harder every year because the teams get better. So yeah, hopefully we're gonna get there, but it's gonna be hard.
Bit of a random one, but at BBC Sport today we've been debating if you could change any rule in football, what would it be? You know, it could be making goals smaller, changing the offside, anything.
Well, I think it would be, I have experienced it more here in England, so I have to, it's the one, you know, when you're, I don't know really how to explain it, but when you have like a 1-0, it's like in the 80 minutes and you just let the time go, you know, like, I don't know, now they changed with the goalkeeper that they're only allowed to have it a few seconds, but those things makes me a bit annoyed, you know, like laying down injuries, and it's things that takes time, you know, and I don't know what the rule would be, but, you know, doing something there, yeah, like when players are faking injuries.
Thank you. Cheers. Yeah.
Sorry, just about the refereeing. Mm-hmm. What's the main difference between European and obviously we've seen you got VAR. I mean, in the Champions League and not in the WSL. Is that a relief, or to have that backup, or not? I mean,
I was gonna say VAR and so, but I don't know, because I still don't agree with the decision that we had against Dom. I just don't agree with it. The only thing I'd say, and I don't mean this to be derogatory at all, but some of the officials are coming from leagues that are probably not as established yet as they will be in the future, and I think they're not professional, so it kind of, you got to get up to speed, and to jump that level is huge. So, and again, I don't want to point individuals out in that, but I think when you got big games like this at these big arenas, you have to have big officials, and I think people that have just experienced it more often, I think is the key. Like, we're experiencing it, they have to experience it. And I think VAR is good in that situation, but also it almost seems that when they go to the screen, it's going to be the decision, right? And I just think it's a bit of a sour taste when I think just things are a little bit less, like in the WSL, I think they're a little bit more leniency on physicality. I don't think it's quite there, and in the Champions League. But I'm hoping it's just a normal game where it can just be two teams going at it, but let's hope it doesn't play too much of an issue in the game, because I wouldn't want it to ruin such a good game against two good teams.
Just to clarify, Mark, when you said you would introduce VAR, do you mean bring it into the WSL or take it out?
No, I think I'd definitely introduce it into like penalty. Like, we should have a penalty against Villa. We should have. It's a handball. It's a very clear handball as well. The ball gets played back across, and the girl handball, I mean, your hand's there and she pushes it up. That would have been a penalty. That probably would have rescued the performance, to be honest. But but I think also one of the things I don't like this 30-second rule where a player's off for 30 seconds when she gets hit. I really don't like it. Take both players off then. Especially if it's a yellow card, take both players off. Because basically you get, for 30 seconds, if your player goes down injured and comes off, if he gets treatment, comes off the field, you can't bring them on for 30 seconds. And that's a big one. So that would be something I'd look into. I know why it was there. It's to stop the time wasting that Frido doesn't like. But actually, the goalkeeper just goes down and pretends and feigns an injury, and then we all know it happens. But take the goalie off for 30 seconds, see what happens. That would be the one that I would go in. And I think just adding VAR in certain areas would also help. Just professionalise. I don't know if there's one in the Arsenal game as well. I've not seen it. I've really not seen it. So, but I'm hearing so again, probably would have been turned around with VAR. So, as much as we'll hate it, it probably does make the bigger decisions in the bigger games. Okay.
Hi, Mark.
Hello, mate.
Tomorrow night you are playing one of the best teams in the competition.
Yes.
How do you approach that during the week, and what sort of tactical elements do you look at against a team of that magnitude and try to exploit?
In all honesty, you say the week, we've had about 2 days. So, so we have to prep our strengths, how we can exploit their strengths. Look, they're very physically dominant, and they can run very quick, they can counter very quick, they set you traps and counter-attack on you, but they can also dominate the ball at times. So they're They're very physically good. I think you have to control space against them, and know when to attack and when to transition. Because if you open up a double transition where you give it away, they're very clinical going forward. So I think trying to control as much space as possible. And then really, and I must stress, and I'll stress this to my team, is play with that Old Trafford kind of energy. Like the famous nights for the men's team in Champions League, and we need to replicate that going into the game. We need that energy of an Old Trafford Theatre of Dreams performance.
Hi Mark. Coming off the back of the loss against Aston Villa, the first half there was no shots on target. We know you like scoring a lot this season, we've seen it. Was that a one-off, or is it something that you've been working on now?
Yeah, no, look, it wasn't good enough from us first half. We should have invaded Villa. Villa had a really high line and we should have invaded them. So we turned that opportunity down. And so when I've spoken about it before, where teams will get used to how you play, you have to adapt. And so it's something we also need to continue to look in when we look at how we to add to this team in the transfer windows. We also need that kind of invasion quality too. So it's something we'll keep working at. But I think I feel like it was a one-off, especially where the quality of players we have. So I just think, and I honestly believe this, I don't think PSG will play the same way as Villa. I just don't think they do. So Villa blocked the space and tried to counter-attack on us. PSG will try and control space but be aggressive with it. So I think it will be a different game. I think there will be spaces available for us to exploit, which creates opportunity for us.
And you're obviously playing this game at Old Trafford.
Yeah.
Does that bring a positive pressure to the team?
Always. We love playing there, and we're usually really good there. So we get great energy from our fans, and we want to make sure we do exactly the same. We're going to have to be in a loud voice. As Frido's alluded to, it's a really tough opponent. So for us to go there, it's always a good thing. And so we're looking forward to the challenge of it. But again, just filling yourself with that inspiration of the teams that have gone before you. So I think we want to create history and do it in the right way by trying to win the game.
Good luck, and thank you so much.
That's lovely. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I think that's all the questions from that side. Right, we're going to move over. So we've got some students with us today from 3 different universities. So if you guys we'll start at the beginning, literally, and just go along. If you can just say your names for us, which uni you're from, and then go ahead and ask a question for me, okay?
Is this being assessed? Oh, okay. I'm going to assess you. Right, go on.
Abby Murphy and I'm from Salford Uni. Hi, Ben.
Nice.
Mark, my question's for you. Ella Toone has a reputation for scoring in the big moments, but she's yet to score at Old Trafford. How fitting would it be for her to score in such a big game? Yeah,
I mean, look, Toonie's been great this year. For her to open her account, as you say, at Old Trafford would be great for her. But she should also remember that she has a massive part in the team. So it doesn't matter whether she scores or not, as long as we win the game. I'm sure she'd love to. I'm sure we'd love her to. But her moment will come when that happens, and I'm sure it'll be a special one for her.
Thank you. I'm Vanessa, and I'm from Salford Uni too. A lot of people talk about players' emotions and preparations for games like this. As a manager, how do you feel going into the game, and what do you do to prepare? Oh, good question. I try to relax as much as possible once a team's named. Up until the team, it's always, because I have people's livelihoods in my hand, and I always take them into account when I'm trying to pick a team. So the team's name now, so I will go home today and I will stay with my family and relax, and then prepare myself tomorrow mentally for a really aggressive challenge, and try and honestly the more you grab, the harder you grab, the more clouded you become. So you have to stay relaxed, trust your game plan, but be ready to adapt. And that's how I will adapt. I'll spend time with my family because they distract you until the moment comes where you have to be full focus. Thank you. Hi, my name's Jamie. I'm also from Salford Uni. You've been unbeaten from near the start of the season until the loss against Villa this weekend. How do you plan to regain momentum going into such a big game, especially at Old Trafford in front of all the fans?
It's funny we talk about momentum as being, it stops when you lose a game. Momentum is performance. We were second half better than we were first half, so we created a little bit more momentum. I'm not a big believer in confidence. I think it's something that processes can create. I think you can. It's there, but I think you can create it yourself by good behaviours, good process. So I don't think there's a momentum. I think knowing these players and hearing them after the defeat, they know what they've got to do, and they know how hard they've got to do it, and so they're looking forward to it. So I have no doubt that my players will go out there and give absolutely everything. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Kira, also from Salford Uni. Frido, this one's for you. So you've won major titles in the past, as we all know. What would it mean for you personally to help United make a European statement and build something historic?
It would be absolutely amazing. I know this club is pretty young, if I compare with the clubs I've been playing in before. So I think it would be very cool to get this club on the highest level. And as you can see now, this is historical. It's the first time in Champions League, and then continue this journey together with this team. It's also one of the reasons why I wanted to come here to build something and see this club gets better and better for every year. So that would be a dream to continue and hopefully win trophies together with this team.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Frankie Ackley. I'm from the University Academy of 92. This question is for the both of you. So Manchester United have been very vocal about the growth of the women's game. How is that reflected from inside of the club?
Okay, I'll start, Frido, because obviously you're new. I think it's in the conversations you have every day. I don't think it's not just strategy and big strategy. It's actually the conversations that you talk about how we can progress, how we're going to look to grow the women's team in every aspect, not just on the field, off the field as well. It's having support from the top, which I've said this in North, and I know people question. I have absolute faith in the people above me that they have everything interest to grow our team into what we want, which is to be successful on a continuous basis. So I think it's interest as well. It's people being interested. We have all the time people from across the club speaking about our games. Every time I drive in, the security guards have been watching our games. I think it's that awareness and that kind of interest that grows, that you're actually a natural, organic part of the club rather than it just be a superficial, forced part. And so, I just think it's those conversations, and we keep them on, and they are daily, by the way. So, we're beavering away right now to try and add to this team in January to keep our run going and support the players that are all doing a fantastic job. Okay.
Hi, I'm Ruby Southern from United as well. Mark, a number of your players are still relatively new to the campaign. How have you been preparing them for the European ties?
I mean, it's people like Frido next to me. Like it's just having people, when you look aside, that they just hold themselves with the composure that she does. And I mean that she trusts herself, she knows what she's done, she's been here before, and when you're younger, sometimes you just need that. You just need to turn around and look at somebody, knowing you'll look at these guys here and the experience that these have here, you'll look at them and ask them questions, and they just fill you with that, oh, I made that mistake before and it can help you out. I think it's that, I really do. I just, when I met you, for example, it was just the impressive nature of the person, the human that is sat with me today. So I know that she'll help us lead in those moments where we need it. And we will need it. We're young, we will make mistakes. But I think it's leaning into the fact that you've got experience in the room and enjoying that, I think. Thank you.
My name's Angel. I'm from the Uni of Salford as well. You've previously spoken about controlling the controllable.
Yeah.
How does it affect the squad in preparation for the European fixture?
When you have to control the controllables?
Yeah.
The reality, the controllables right now are knowing that we have an opponent that is different every 3-4 days. I think for us it's controlling training. It's making sure messages are not too diverse from who we are, but they might be more specific to the opponent. And I think really just how I help control the controls, I keep the environment stable. My job is to make sure that we don't get too high and we don't get too low, but we are ready to perform. And so that's my job. My job is, I think some coaches do it differently, but mine is to make sure that when there's noise around, that you absorb that noise and make sure that my players can just perform and they don't feel that noise. Okay.
Hi Mark, Jacob Ramthorne from Salford Uni. How did it feel knowing that your side will make history by playing in a European fixture at Old Trafford for the first ever time? And how does preparing for this occasion feel?
The same. I know it sounds strange. It feels the same. I think I heard Virgil van Dijk say it the other day that they asked him how they'd recover for the Man City game after their Champions League win at Real Madrid, and he just said, we'll recover. It probably sounds boring, but we'll recover and we'll do the same. It's exactly the same for us. We'll recover, we'll focus, we'll get on to the next task, and that's really how you prepare. And my job is to obviously prepare the team tactically, technically, but also just put them in a space where we pick the right team. I think that's been different. What was the other part of your question, sorry?
The other one's just saying, like, how does it feel knowing that your side will make history by playing in a European fixture at Old Trafford?
It feels wonderful. I always remember, it was ITV at the time, but the Champions League game with the men's, and I always remember them playing Juventus, and Schmeichel's fantastic save, and all of them, you know, the Keane missing out on the final for his tackle. I remember these things, and they live with me in my memory. So for our women's team to do the same and be on those kind of platforms is an incredible privilege for us, and one we won't take lightly. I know we won't. Like, we'll give our absolute all, and if we do and they do, you know, it's going to be an exciting game, and who knows which way it will go.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Charlie from Salford Junior as well.
Hi, Charlie.
You said that PSG are obviously tactically very good and manage and deal with spaces very well.
Mm-hmm.
And you also said about obviously staying relaxed before the games, like the night before. So when the game kicks off and the ref blows his first whistle, what's the first thing you or the players as well look out for?
Yeah, so there's a couple of things. So the hour or the 45 minutes before kick-off is terrible for a coach because there's nothing you can do. It's actually the most boring time. It's the worst time. I'm trying to find, so if you've got any suggestions, I'm trying to find something to do in that time. We've already done the game plan. What you end up doing is you then go into games. So you don't just wait for the whistle to go. You're looking at how they line up. You're looking at their warm-up. You then look at whether your strategy's right, where the spaces are. Believe it or not, when there's a different stadium around, your spaces are off a little bit, or they change a little bit compared to your training field. So just adjusting. First 10 to 15 minutes about adjustment. And then you go from your game plan models into where you think you should be next. Are we hitting the markers? Are we hitting the targets? And then have we started? Who do we need to speak to? All those little factors come to you. You are live. Once the game kicks off, you are live and you are fully... You're in you have to chaos mode because you've got to control as many. There's 11 of us, there's 11 of them, and there's a referee on the field, and it's chaos. So you've got to control that as much as you can, but also let the players create magic. I want some of my players to create magic tomorrow night. There's no doubt about it. I want to get excited by how good these players are and what they can do to PSG. You're welcome.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Anyone? Done?
Yeah, done.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much. Now it's time to mingle, students. Come on, get across. Get some business cards. Let's go.